Launching and leading, that's what we do. Impacting communities, changing the world, increasing profits. You're a powerhouse girl. We're women who launch and lead.
You are listening to Women Who Launch and Lead, the podcast for women ready to change the world by women who are changing the world. Listen in each week on iTunes, Google, Spotify, Breaker, or Stitcher as we connect with women making it happen in life, business, and career. Relate to their struggles, learn their strategies, and celebrate their successes. Then show your love by subscribing and leaving a review. Now, here's your host, Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon here again for another episode of Women Who Launch and Lead. And today we have with us Dr. Malaika Turner. Malaika is an author, motivational speaker, and trainer. And we are excited to have her here with us today to share from her experience and her journey. And I'm sure that, as always, you're going to get some valuable lessons and strategies from our conversation. So be sure to listen in and pay close attention. So Malaika, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on a podcast with my friend.
Yes. So just full disclosure, Malaika and I have known each other since college, and she is the godmother to my firstborn. But that is not why she's on this podcast. She is on this podcast because she is a powerhouse woman, okay? Oh, so let me just talk about that. All right. So, Malaika, we always start off with having our guests share with us about them, the person. So Tell us who you are, what you do, and how you are impacting the world.
Thank you. Actually, that's when people say, who are you and what do you do? It's like, let me sift through a few things here. I am the lead trainer of the Speak Her, which is, I guess what I would say, a business that provides women with some motivational tools that will help them in their leadership, their confidence, their communication, executive presence. I'm also an author of Walking in Step with God on Purpose. I also am a host of a new podcast called Pivot. But more importantly, I'm a woman who thrives when I'm creative. I get the space to be creative, and I am passionate about motivating women and providing them with the kind of tools that they need to be everything that they're designed to be. So that's what mostly everything I do comes through or is directed to strengthening, building women. On the flip side of that, though, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a mom of two young, you said powerhouse, I would say powerhouse men, two young men, 18 and 14. So I am, again, utilizing that motivational tools and pouring them into my sons. And I'm also the wife of a one man who I've been with over 20 years.
Awesome. So you talked a lot about motivation and helping people, specifically women and then your family, to utilize tools to help them really be the best that they can be and be all that they can be. So how did you get started on that path? Because, normally when we're children, we're not saying, I want to be a motivational speaker, or, I want to help people fulfill purpose. That's not the language that we use growing up. So what was it that got you started on this path towards motivating people, but then specifically motivating people through your speaking and training?
For me, a lot of what I do comes out of my experiences. And so I think early on in my career, my professional career, I recognized that that was not something that I would do for the rest of my life. And I knew that I wasn't, I don't want to say passionate, but I would say I knew it just was something that didn't feed the soul. And so I've been through a lot of different experiences. Two things. I had been through a lot of different experiences, and I seemed to struggle with women in my younger years. And so as a woman of faith, I began to pray and kind of ask God to show me, like, give me some direction of who I am and where I'm going and what I'm doing. And that to me just kind of started this whole idea of motivating women, right? So you go through all of these struggles, and you go through abuse, and you go through things in the hands of women, and then being able to take that and in a very miraculous way, how you can take that very pain and the very hurt and turn that towards the very people who have hurt you, which for me were women. So I think that's, for me, how I got started in really wanting to motivate women, really learning a lot about myself and wanting to utilize those strategies to help women become overcomers, and recognize the power that lies within them. And so that's just, I'm telling you, just about everything I do has something, is just relevant for women and their growth.
Mm-hmm. That's really powerful, especially looking at the fact that you had these struggles with, girls younger on and into womanhood. And rather than letting that kind of harden you to relationships with women, because we hear, I don't do women like that. I don't have girlfriends. All of my friends are men, and things like that. So we understand where that comes from.
Right.
But to be able to not only move past that and be able to establish healthy, mutually beneficial and productive relationships with women, but also to, in your business and in feeling a passion and doing work that is fulfilling, serving women in a way that helps them to not only be confident in who they are so that they can have their own productive female relationships,
Right.
but beyond that, being able to, stand up tall and, and proud and express their power in the workplace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, in my, I call it in my 9 to 5, I'm in a position of leadership, and I'm recognizing the importance of a level of confidence and courage, right, that you need to be in the position that I am in. And so I noticed that there are women out there who would say to me, if I presented at a women's conference or something, they would say things like, how do you do that? Or not speaking up, or especially my speakers, women who have a desire to speak but are nervous about it or feel like they can't do it. And I'm thinking, listen, if you're in a position of leadership and you have to facilitate a meeting, or you have to manage conversations or groups, then you can do it, right? So then for me, it's being able to take what I feel is my strength, and then pouring those nuggets and that motivation and those strategies to women that are very, very simple, very, very simple, very easy. And watching women, I've seen women over the years. So, one of my successes is to be able to see women over the years who have listened to some of those nuggets or some advice, and watch them now go out and present, right, with confidence. That brings me joy. I love that. I love to see that.
Yes, it brings you joy. I love hearing people say that in reference to their work.
It brings me joy.
Yes, that's a different feeling than just going to work.
Right. Exactly. And getting a check. There's something
Yes.
behind it.
Yes. So what challenges have you experienced on this entrepreneurial journey, especially given that, you do have a 9 to 5, you do have a family, but even, you might even reference some internal challenges, but what are some of the things that you've had to deal with as you've moved forward with this mission?
Yeah, that's a good question. So here's the deal for me, commitment, right? So the first thing that I had to do was really peel back some layers on why I struggle with being committed to my dreams, right? Being committed to the things that I'm passionate about. So it's easy to get up and go to the 9 to 5 because you know that that is going to draw revenue that you need to live, right? You've got a family. I need this 9 to 5. I need this check. But then when we move over and we begin to think about the things we're passionate about, we're absolutely good at, people compliment us, we have the skill set to be able to move it forward in an entrepreneurial way, the commitment level can sometimes be helter-skelter because it's like, this is not paying me right now. I can do this later, right? And so for me, the challenges that I've experienced is my just as much or more commitment to energy, I would say just perseverance to my passion, to the things that bring me joy, right? To stick-to-itiveness, right? Just sticking with that thing. And that's been my challenge because you don't always see a quick return, right? If you work for 2 weeks and you're 9 to 5, you're going to receive a check, right? That's the quick return. You know it's coming, and it assists with the things that you have need of in your home. But your passion, the things that your entrepreneurial mindset, the job, the work that it takes to move it forward, you are the one. You don't have a secretary, right? There's no secretary, right? There's no custodian cleaning up the mess when you're staying up all night and there's coffee, and you really have to be committed. And that's one of the things that I've been challenged over the years. I think the second one is, for me, is I'm now starting to embrace. There's a creative side to me that I don't usually display, I guess, if you will, or share. But I have to say I'm pretty creative with visuals. And so, and I don't want to take that for granted anymore. It's something that I do, and I enjoy that. It's about the same as when I'm motivating women. When I'm sitting at home and putting together different fonts and different content from my pages, I enjoy that so much, and to see the finished product and the patterns that I might create. I see things, I put it together. So it's how do I take that and incorporate that into what I do, and help others with it. Like, how do I do that? Well, I've learned to take my pages, like the speaker Instagram page or some of my other Instagram pages, and now utilize that. I've erased everything. So if you go there now, you're not going to see anything. I've erased everything, and now I'm restarting to create this picture, this pattern, this motivational calm place that women will be able to go to and get some tools and get some inspiration from those particular pages. So and the time probably is number 3. The challenge is time to do all of this, right? You need time to do it all. And now as I'm older and a little bit more seasoned than in my 20s, I recognize sometimes you got to get up at 5:30. Sometimes you got to stay up later. Sleep is overrated, right? It's like, if you have a goal and you have a dream, you can't always get 8.9 or 8.5 hours of sleep. So.
That's really good. I like you saying that, basically the payoff doesn't always come so quick, with their entrepreneurship. And I think that's where a lot of women get thrown off. They hit it really hard for a short period of time. And when they don't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish in that time, they get, just kind of
Discouraged.
thrown off.
Yeah.
Like, well, wait a minute, it's not working. And it's
Right.
not that it's not working. You probably just haven't given it enough time. There may be some pieces missing. You may need to get some help with some things.
Right.
But we can't give up so easily and so quickly because we don't see the results. We don't see the clients. We don't see the check.
Exactly. Exactly. You really do have to stick with it. It was something I was going to say but yes, you're right. You don't always see the payoff. And that's okay. What I was going to say is over the years, I've started so many projects because of that mindset. I mean, I should be a millionaire.
Shouldn't we all?
Right? I've started books, didn't finish. I've started projects, didn't move, I've started all sorts of things. And because I didn't see the quick payoff, what happens is you go back to, well, I'll just do the 9 to 5 because
Right.
I know that that's there. So.
Yes. So what have you done then to address those challenges, right?
Right.
Because I know, not just for you, because this was a problem that I had as well. And I know that many other women have. And I think ideally we would like our listeners to draw something from this that can kind of shorten that timeline. And maybe you don't have to deal with these challenges for years. And years, like we dealt with them because we have these types of resources available to us. So what have you done to help you, if not overcome the challenges, manage them better so that you can actually make progress towards your own goals?
Well, you know what? I've made some decisions. I think it's important to, mindset is everything. At this age, I'm, over 45. And at this age in my life, I have definitely not given up. But in my mind, I've decided, you know what? I'm going to see this thing through. Mm-hmm. So I think it's changing my attitude. And I sat down and I created a plan, right? Mm-hmm. So by 2000 and such, I plan to be here. And I recognize that in order to be here, these are the things that I need to do, right? So if that's a training that I need to attend, if that's a planning strategy session that I need to invest in, those are the things that I have done. And here's the thing for me, I've put things out there. So I've put things out there enough that people have attached themselves to it. They expect to see it. And so that's sort of your accountability mark there, right? Because people now, they love what you're doing. It's helping them to grow. And now they're expecting it. And so I think those are some of the things that I've done, is to really create a plan, change my attitude. Mm-hmm. And when I will be honest with you, a few days ago, here's the third thing: recognize when you're starting to feel like you want to be done with it. Like, I want to give up, because there's a physical thing that happens either in your mind, in your body, the whole thing, and so that's what happened to me the other day. I was sitting on the side of my bed and I thought to myself, I'm starting to feel it. I don't have to do this, right? I don't care, right? Mm-hmm. I have a job. Mm-hmm. And so when I recognized that thing was coming, to throw up my hands and say, let's just take a break. And at that moment, for me, as a woman of faith, I prayed. And then I got up, and it was funny because I had someone remind me, hey, you need to do such and such. Did you get this done? So those are the things that have helped me.
Those are really good strategies. And they're simplistic in terms of, make a decision, change your attitude, make a plan, get somebody to hold you accountable, right? Mm-hmm. Those are things that we hear in a variety of areas of our lives, right? But doing it, I think they'll make a decision. they may change their attitude.
Right.
They might write a plan.
Right.
Most people won't get accountability because, accountability is challenging.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Someone is like holding your feet to the fire. Like, are you doing this? Are we doing this? This is what you say. How much do you want it? And kind of pushing you to face your stuff is what good accountability will do.
Right. You know what? But here's the thing. You have to be desperate to want out of where you are. So I am desperately, there was a movie back in the 80s called Desperately Seeking Susan. I am desperately seeking, the success that I want as an entrepreneur. I'm desperately desiring, seeking it. And I know that everybody around you, people out there speaking all across the country, making millions of, well, not now, but making thousands, millions of dollars, who will tell you that everything you need is inside of you. And that's my thing. Like, I am desperately desiring to leave my 9-to-5 and work for me. And that's the thing that has changed for me. So when my accountability folks push me, my chest feels funny, but I know it's right, because they are connecting with that desperate feeling I have inside of me. They're connecting with that. It's supplementing that desperate feeling of like, I'm out of here. I cannot do this after 2000 and such and such. I'm done with this. Okay, so-and-so is pushing me. So you have to be desperate enough. Thirsty, man. That thirst is not even enough. You got to be like dying. And like, I don't want to be in this situation any longer than the year that I have set. Therefore, I will do what it takes to come out of this place.
And that's so relevant on so many levels, not just in your pursuit of, purpose or passion or entrepreneurship, but in any challenging situation you're facing in your life. If it is not good to you, not good for you, something needs to change. How bad do you want the change?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very powerful. So I think I want to find out from you how you define purpose. And I like asking people this question when I have the opportunity to, because there's a variety of answers that float around, and none are necessarily right or wrong. It's all perspective. But I'd be interested in hearing how you define purpose.
You know what? I think I've just recently talked about this whole idea of doing what you're pre-wired to do. So I think that everyone is pre-wired. I think that, prior to even birth, we've all been pre-wired to do something. However, there are situations where, like, it is my purpose in this situation to be here or to do this. And in this situation, it is my purpose. So I've gone away from believing that it's just one thing. But I do think that we are pre-wired and destined to fulfill something that God gave us, that God put in us. And I think when you're doing it. I think when you're walking in your purpose. I honestly believe that when you are, and when you're not. So.
Yeah, that's good. So even if you're not clear on what it is, you can be clear on what it's not, and then start taking some actions to move out of that situation.
Absolutely,
to where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Yes. So what is the last book you read, and what did you like about it, or what did you get from it?
Last book I read, gosh. probably fully, would probably finished would be Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm.
um, I loved it. It was a book that we took a road trip. We, meaning my family, we took a road trip. So I had it on Audible. I don't think I had the physical copy yet, but I definitely had it on Audible, and we were listening to it on the road. And so all of us were listening, and it really captured everyone. The realness, on Audible, sometimes you have the author reading their book and sometimes someone else's, but the idea of having Michelle Obama reading her own book and just kind of sharing feeling and the realness of who she is and the realness of her experiences, and just how, those life lessons and the strategies that she provides. She's a strong sister, and it really hit me that this person that we have seen, right, for 8 years really had it rough, dealt with some of the same things we've dealt with. Right. As far as, just being belittled, or a host of other things. And even in marriage, right? I could relate to her. So that's probably the last full book that I've read would be Becoming.
Okay. Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay, so what's this, 2020?
Yes.
Well, I see myself fully working in my businesses, getting up every morning, but really managing my time, creating powerful content for women out there in what I do, providing training, traveling, doing motivational speaking engagements, and really providing a platform for women as well to share their story. I see myself visiting my children on my terms, right? In college, and being able to link up their visits with a speaking engagement. But more importantly, I really want to see myself building women, just building. I have some goals that I have not shared with anyone, that I really dusted off and said, this is possible. So I don't even see myself just working with adult women, but I see myself creating some facilities for younger women and pouring into them, especially women who have experienced, young girls who have experienced abuse. And so those are some things that I really want to see in 5 years.
Okay. So you're going to have to work that plan.
Absolutely.
And have that accountability and stay desperate.
Exactly.
Yes, but it's possible. Absolutely possible.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch over to wordplay now.
Okay.
And I'm going to share 2 words with you that I'd like you to just give your reflections or thoughts on. And the first is motivation.
So I can say anything?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? Motivation is an ingredient that I believe feeds and nourishes women, feeds the soul. I think that there are a lot of women out there who are hungry for motivation, hungry for people to use their words in such a way that builds them and doesn't tear them. And that's what I see in motivation. You can motivate someone by just body language, but motivation comes by your words, and it comes by what you say and what you release into the atmosphere and to the lives of other people. And that's what I feel. It is that needed ingredient. Every day we need to be motivated, and we need to do that through what we hear and what we take in.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. Now the second word is pivot.
Pivot. Wow. Pivot is all about changing directions. It's about stopping. It's about saying, hold up, wait a second. I need to make a turn here. And it's about strength. It's about being courageous when making that new change and making that new direction for your life. And I think pivot, when you think about basketball, right? Because I have athletes in my house, so outnumbered. But when I think about pivot, I think about the whole idea of you have the ball and you are thinking, what do I do next, right? That you have the freedom to decide, that you can provide yourself with some options, right? There are some options that you can do. And ultimately, your options help you to get to the goal, right? So to make the shot. And sometimes that involves you bringing others into your pivot, right? So other people might be impacted by your pivot as well. So pivot is all about changing directions, but it's all about getting to your goal, ultimately getting to the goal.
Yes. I love that reflection.
Yeah.
And I love the way you shared it so positively, because a lot of times we'll view having to make a pivot as a negative thing.
Right.
And it certainly can come about because of something negative.
Right.
But again, we talk about perspective and how we're viewing things. Something negative may have caused the pivot, but the pivot itself doesn't have to be negative or result in something negative. And if you view it as an opportunity to move forward, even if it's in a different direction, to gain some ground, and to get closer to what you ultimately want, or want physically, tangibly, or what you want to be,
right,
then it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Ultimately, you're getting to your goal.
Right. Yes. Awesome. So as we bring the interview to a close, I want our listeners to know how they can connect with you online. So share where they can find you.
Well, they can definitely find her at drmalaikaturner.com. But I have a new, it's kind of funny with social media, things change so much. But if you go to linktr.ee /Dr. Malaika Turner, that will take you to all of my my links. And so I think that's the easiest way to find me. So it's linktr.ee /Dr. Malaika Turner.
Okay, great. And we'll make sure that all of the listeners can find that URL in our show notes, so they can easily connect with you, listen into the Pivot podcast, find out about how you're helping women either through your motivational speaking or your training through the Speak Her. So ladies who are tuning in, make note, if anything that was shared today motivated, inspired you, made you think about where you are and where you want to be, and maybe what's holding you back, and you feel like Dr. Malaika can assist you with that, I want you to connect with her online and take advantage of her expertise and experience in helping you to get where you want to go. So Dr. Malaika Turner, thank you once again for joining us today. I'm so glad that we had you on.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Sharita. I am very, very delighted to be able to share whatever I can. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Peace and blessings to all of you. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us for Women Who Launch and Lead with Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and leave your positive review so we can continue to bring you impactful and powerful content. Don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Women Who Launch and Lead. Learn more about how you can work with Dr. Sharita at SharitaWeatherspoon.com. As always, learn, launch, lead.